did I get here? There was no door opening sequence.
Yeah, Cloud keeps doing that to me.
It's a waste of time. It's a fade in from black.
So?
Who gives a shit?
I gives a shit.
Okay, so we're in another new environment after the battleship area. If you were riding if you were still in the bulldozer section in Leon's campaign, this would have been the last third of the run, where you just got off of the elevator, you're in the open air section, and you're waiting for Ashley basically to crash into an oncoming car, which sends you towards the end of Chapter 5-2 in a conveniently placed room segment that happens to lead directly into Sadler's path. So, at this point in the game, Ashley has already been re-kidnapped. They've already crashed the bulldozer, and Leon is on his way to a death trap with Krauser, as Wesker has tasked Krauser with assassinating Leon. Ada has taken it upon herself to make sure that does not happen.
This is, of course, because that Ada has sexual feelings for Leon.
You know what? I know we've had this discussion before. I think it's more out of self-interest that she's doing it. I think it's because she knows that if Leon was dead, she would have that many more Ganados out trying to kill her, which would make the mission significantly more challenging.
Yeah, but not impossible. As we've seen, Ada is clearly capable of handling as many or even more Ganados than Leon is.
Well, let's examine that claim. Leon has taken down the Big Cheese. He's about to take down U3, that big-ass motherfucker. He's taken down Salazar. Gonna kill Krauser. Like, those four guys in themselves, like, it's like, okay, if any of those guys had actually crossed Ada's path, she would have dispatched them just as easily as Leon. No argument there. However, I just think it's just the sheer volume of enemies that makes it necessary for Ada to be in the shadows this whole time.
And I honestly don't see that. Ada has proven herself, at least through your playing skills, to be as capable as Leon is. Sure, she'll take a couple more axes to the face, but Leon can take those just fine too.
But yeah, but it's two instead of one. That's my point. You have two active combatants in this battle, not just one. I'm struggling. I'm searching deep within this video for something to commentate over that I can't say we've already done. We're killing enemies and we're walking forward. That's about it. Thankfully, at the end of this room, we'll be in a familiar environment.
Okay, so, here's something that we haven't exactly talked about. Ada eventually does get her access to the serum or the vial that has the bike pump in it, right?
The vial is the bike pump.
Yes.
And yes, you are correct.
All right. Aside from returning it to Wesker, what else could she actually do with it?
She could give it to another organization that would be interested in having the Master Plaga sample. You're supposed to infer in Resident Evil 5 that Wesker somehow got the sample. He got the sample either as a result of the events of this game or some kind of in-between events that they never explicitly define. He refines the Plaga, makes it into the... I mean, it's still called Las Plagas in Resident Evil 5, but it's like a super Plaga. In this game, the incubation period for Plaga larvae is a pretty long amount of time, like 12 to 24 hours. No, probably about 12 hours.
Okay.
Seeing how Leon cures himself in about that much time, and he's perfectly okay at the end of the game. The incubation period for the Plagas in Resident Evil 5, however, is practically instantaneous. As soon as the larva enters the host body, it matures into an adult and it takes over the host.
So we're given the assumption that Wesker actually has the resources to advance the Plaga.
Well, of course he's got the resources. He's
So
like the president of
aside from
Umbrella or
Umbrella
something.
being gone, who else would actually want the Lost Plagas virus?
Probably the same people who come in Resident Evil 6, who I have no idea. The Guavo. They call the Ganados, the humanoid enemies in Resident Evil 6, the Duavo or the Juavo. In this game, they're called Ganados. In Resident Evil 5, they're called Magini, which means evil spirits.
Well, that's because of the changes in locale. You're in Africa in 5.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, in this universe, apparently there are a lot of bioterrorist organizations who just want the power, so they take it. I mean, you can just... It's horrifying, really, in scope, what Las Plagas does to communities. We've already seen what the T-Virus has done to Raccoon City in Resident Evil 2 and 3. In Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6, whole villages, towns, have been decimated by this parasite because it infects everybody. And whoever is not infected gets murdered.
Does this logic actually pass through to the pets?
The pets?
Yeah. If you recall, one of the major recurring enemies from RE2 was the infected dogs.
Yes. The parasite can also infect other mammals.
Okay.
Must be Leon's handiwork. You may not know that you can actually go back to this room. This is the first room that Leon exits from the bulldozer section. There are a couple goodies like that yellow herb that you're gonna want to pick up. So don't forget to come in here if you come in through the window. I know the game has trained you at this point that if it starts you off in a room that proceeds in one direction, you're usually blocked from going in the opposite direction. So naturally, I'd say the average player would just proceed forward, especially from the urgency that we're supposed to stop Leon from getting killed.
Right. But here's the thing. Until we get to Leon, Leon is in no danger.
He is in no danger, exactly. In fact, you can take as long as you want in these sections, and Leon will be perfectly fine by the time you get to him. No, I have all the Golden Lynx treasures! Yay!
So we now have the Egyptian links of Isis.
Is that what it is? Who's Isis again? That name sounds familiar.
Isis is pretty much the birth mother of the Egyptian pantheon. So
she's like the source of all life in Egyptian mythology.
I'm not sure if she's a source of all life, but she's one of the very powerful gods in the Egyptian pantheon. Mind you, her symbol is actually, I think, the crane as opposed to the lynx. But the three gemstones are treason, judgment, and something else.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, I think you hit the nail right on the head, because that's the name of each of the gemstones that I just put into the cat. Well, I did not expect Resident Evil 4 to make that many references to real-life things.
Well, yeah, the lynx is actually a very prominent figure in Egyptian mythology. Although I'm using the wrong god. It wouldn't have been of Isis. It would have been
Ra?
No, Ra is most certainly not Cat. Ra, being the sun god, I don't actually think had a particular animal, and if he did, it would have been the dung beetle.
I wish I could remember. Now that I think about it, like, Egyptian mythology is pretty concerned with the idea of the afterlife, and this is a game about being reanimated from the dead, sort of. Oh, look! Leon, I made it just in time, see? You're just at this part. I also cannot overstate how refreshing it is not to have to do the QuickTime prompts during this cutscene. because this is one of my least favorite parts in the Leon's campaign, is the goddamn QuickTime event gauntlet, which is this particular cutscene.
Almost let it slip. Enough talk. Die, comrade.
So again,
Ada,
nothing
now's
really
the
new
time
here.
to use the single-shot rifle. Thank you.
Actually, she didn't use the rifle to get that shot. She used a handgun.
Indeed, she did.
She aimed a fucking handgun at a knife. I couldn't even have done that.
Why did she aim at the knife?
She aimed at the knife because if she hit it, it would have knocked it. That was the implement that Krauser was going to use to kill Leon.
Yeah, but she could have killed Krauser and instead chose to, you know, save Leon.
You don't know Krauser.
Knew each other?
Okay, she could have mortally wounded Krauser.
Maybe it's about time you told me the reason
You
why
don't know Krauser.
He's not gonna dodge a headshot from an angle that he doesn't know exists.
You don't know Krauser.
No. What does Krauser have superhuman perception?
Leon S. Kennedy, perhaps the most essential part of this mission. This story wouldn't be
We'll see
complete without
Krauser
him
soon
and his
enough. I had to get that
survival
out. That was
skills.
so funny.
He has what it takes to survive against overwhelming odds. I've seen him do it before. And he's improved since then.
Damn right, he's improved.
Practically a genius. He has smarts and he knows how to use them.
I feel like that was.
On top of that,
I
his
feel like
service as a
Ada
government
calling Leon a
agent
genius
is
is more like an
Oh,
ego
behind the
scratch
scenes
for
to make
whoever's
him think
playing
he's
the
the primary
game,
player
because
here.
obviously Leon's
Or maybe
actions are
naive to
contingent
think
on
that
what you do
easy.
as a player.
Yep.
Considering the involvement of
But I
both
never
Saudi
really,
and
it never really struck
the
me how
possibility of
intelligent he
unforeseen
was
problems
until
is there.
one of the characters actually
But I
pointed
need
it
him in a
out.
supporting role for me to achieve my goals.
Okay, so see
I'll
there,
do
that
whatever
she
it takes
just
to keep him in his place.
she just
and make this
confirmed
all
everything
go
that I was
smoothly.
saying, is that she needs him in the supporting role for her mission.
Of course, his role didn't exist at all until a few months ago. Back then, my role
That
was
cutscene
simple.
hasn't happened yet, Ada.
But that was before
Well,
the
Gerda, we've
president's
already
daughter was
we've been
abducted
over
and
this.
Leon was dispatched
This is
along
a
with family.
mashup, obviously, of
Talk
all the
about
Leon
major script
cutscenes,
revision. I don't think I need to worry.
and the game.
Neither is
doesn't-
that one, Ada.
Well, I mean, by this point, if you're playing separate ways, you've already played the main campaign, so there's nothing new in these cutscenes.
True, but still, Ada should not have access to this footage. It doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, she also shouldn't be allowed to see inside people's minds to see what they're dreaming. This is the end of Part 9. In next part, we start Chapter 5, the final chapter of Separate Ways. Stay tuned.